very nice. Fun reviews that get no views. Gives me the blues. Very nice. Now we be insanity, no reality. Very nice. Sweet and sour. This is our little mess. Very nice. There's very nice. It's time for very nice. Hi kids, it's me, Barry Nice.
And me, Piglet.
And today, we're going to do a Doctor Who video.
Oh boy. Hope we don't get as mad as we did in the last one.
Yeah, so today
We won't, though.
Today we're going to talk about why the 7th Doctor era of classic Doctor Who is really the best era of Doctor Who. Well, classic Doctor Who.
Yeah. And during this video, just forewarning, we're not going to show any clips at all.
Nope.
From any of the Sylvester seasons or serials or anything.
Nope.
Because it's just too big of a risk with copyright and all. Because classic Doctor Who is protected so much by
We're just
copyright.
going to use a bunch of screenshots.
Yeah.
So don't think we're being cheap. We can't use film.
We don't want to get copyrighted even without, like, sound. It will still be copyrighted. So, shall we start? Or, actually, no, maybe we should tell them why we think.
Yeah, so there are many, countless reasons why the Sylvester era is the best part of classic Doctor Who. Now, people, for some reason, typically don't like the 7th Doctor
At
episode.
least people did back in the day. And I feel like what happened was back in the day, people didn't like it, and it started this trend.
All the grumpy old men who grew up with Doctor Who, and by the time the 80s came around and Sylvester came around, none of them liked it. But now, and then I just started this trend of no one liking it.
I think there's a few people around who like it now.
I think a lot of young people like them, because,
like us, but
yeah.
there's still a group of people. There's a group. There's still just like a force on the internet. There's the classic, 80s classic Doctor Who will always have this force of hatred just around it because
for no reason.
Because nobody liked it back when it came out, and unfortunately, that dislike still stays around to this day.
Yeah, and what we don't get is why people don't like Sylvester, but then they like the old man.
Okay, do people actually really like the first Doctor episodes?
Well, I have no idea. People actually I passionately watch the first Doctor every day, and I watch it on the toilet, and I watch it when I eat. And is there anyone out there who actually does that?
We have watched quite a few of them when we ate. But they were very, very, very painful and bad. So, dragged out, slow, and boring.
I don't know how people like that.
And just a lot of Tom Baker episodes are also painfully boring, dragged out, and too long.
Yeah,
so,
they don't make sense and don't explain anything.
Sylvester episodes they're shorter. The serials only ever get just 3 episodes. Unlike
4.
3, 4.
4. They only do 4 3-parters, which is good. They explain everything
most of the
time.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, and the stories most of the time make sense.
Yeah,
and what we don't get is why do people like Tom Baker and stuff so much? I don't get what's so special about it. Looking at it from a critical standpoint, as a critic.
Oh boy, getting back into this again.
Quiet. What I mean is, critically looking at it, the writing's bad.
Just because Tom Baker's good doesn't mean the rest of it's good.
Yeah,
okay? That's
Tom Baker's a good actor. I didn't mean the acting, but yeah.
Tom Baker's good. I like the 4th Doctor. Do I like 4th Doctor episodes?
No.
I haven't seen them all. I've seen some. No,
Yeah,
Shada's really bad.
I've seen Revenge of Simon was abysmal. Power of the Daleks was horrible, but it wasn't as bad.
The Daleks wasn't as bad as Revenge of the Cybermen, but Power of the Daleks... Back when Power of the Daleks and Revenge of the Cybermen were on YouTube...
No joke, those were on YouTube. Full series, an hour and
that was 3 years ago, though.
Yeah. But, critically looking at them, the writing is bad, they don't make any sense, they're dragged out. But then looking at the Sylvesters, the writing makes sense, they mostly explain stuff, they're not dragged out. And, the music is way better, the effects are...
the music. Well, in some
episodes. We'll talk about the music in a little while. The special effects are... they're better than Tom Baker, but the special effects still aren't that good. They try to use some CGI a bit in the first couple.
Paintbox. They try Paintbox.
They use Paintbox a lot, And they usually when there's gun shooting, they always
Laser
just
guns.
use sparks.
It's just sparks, and
They
that's
just-
a bit lazy.
They love sparks. Like, but then it's not like, oh, we'll do a little bit of sparks. They go overboard on the sparks. Like, there's sparks everywhere.
So, can we start now, Barry? It's
Okay.
been about 5 minutes of us just sitting here and talking, and anyone who would have clicked on this video probably already clicked out.
Yeah, so let's get going.
Alright, let's start by just going over some episodes. Like, should we start with the first Sylvester serial of them all?
Sure. Please note that this is our second recording. Our first one, we kind of just joked around and we didn't, like, actually describe the plot. We were just, like, just, like, cracking jokes. But anyway, so the first Sylvester season is Time and the Ronnie.
Yeah.
Now, Time and the Ronnie isn't
the
the
greatest.
greatest. It's kind of a little bit of a bunky way to start off the season. So Colin regenerates into Sylvester in, like, the first, like, 2 seconds.
Why does he regenerate?
Now, it never actually says in the episode why
Exactly.
he regenerates, but in the novelization, which I am currently reading, I think Colin bumps his head so hard on the TARDIS console when crashing that he literally his cause to regenerate.
That's really painful.
Yeah.
And then, like, the Ronnie and Ulrich kidnap him.
Yes.
And-
She
oh, boy.
drugs
I'm just gonna keep my mouth
Sylvester to
shut.
make sure that he doesn't have his memory because the Ronnie wants to use Sylvester to repair the machine, use this computer, which is using the intelligence of, like, some of the greatest geniuses in the universe.
Sylvester
So-
being one of them.
And so she can create the formula to do something. I don't actually really know what she is trying to achieve with the geniuses. I know there's the meteor that is coming, which is composed of strange matter.
Yeah, this episode, out of all of them in this season, doesn't really make a lot of sense.
No, it's not really one of those. It's more so it's one of those that just, like, go along for the ride. It's like,
Like, when we get in, like, unfortunately, in some episodes of classic Doctor Who, when it gets, like, in, like, depth and into detail of, like, how something works or what's going
they
on,
don't really tell us.
they're a lot better at just having a plot where the aliens come and show up and try to kidnap the girl, or, like,
Yeah.
there's a fight, or they're going after, like, the silver statue, not, like, the
Yeah.
machine that they're trying to use with this brain and strange matter coming, where, unfortunately, they don't really explain it that well,
Yeah,
but if you sit down and watch it a few times, it's okay.
Yeah, I've
but-
seen it a few times, and I'm currently reading the book. It's just like, I don't really know what the actual goal is from this machine. I know Ronnie's trying to create, like, something because when the meteor hits the planet, Lucretia, it will turn into this giant like thing that can help to thing that can help to, like, alter all of space and time. But so Sylvester has to help prepare the machine, and Mel, she's in the serial.
There's a lot of running around and screaming.
She does a lot of screaming in this episode. She meets this guy named Icona. He's one of the natives of the planet.
A
And-
Lucretian.
Yeah, and he
There's a lot of running too.
Yeah, he does a lot. He does a lot of weird running with his, like, hands back. And so they go around and they do stuff, and eventually they break in, they get Sylvester, then they get out, but Sylvester steals this part of the computer, and they kidnap Mel. And so in order to get Mel back, he has to do a trade-off the piece of the computer for Mel.
Of course, it's a trick.
It's just a hologram. But before that, Sylvester goes into this place called, like, the Hall of Leisure, like the center of leisure. And this is when things get weird. So there's this globe in the center of this room, and all, like, the Lucretians are sitting around being fat asses doing nothing. And then
It just opens and killer bugs come out, and the killer bugs are literally just these yellow dots.
or green or yellow, and it looks horrible. It's
Some of the
like,
effects are better than the others.
Yeah.
Nothing too great in this serial,
yeah, so the bubble trap effects are okay. The onset explosions are pretty good.
but like the killer bugs
Are horrible. But it's like everyone's running around screaming, "Ah, run for your lives!" And there's these little yellow dots running around,
Yeah.
getting people. Like, kinda
That
hard to
source
take
got us
seriously.
no point.
Yeah,
and then the serial ends of, like, the Ronnie being defeated, but the Ronnie survives and
She
is
gets
being
away.
held captive by
Urich
Ulrich.
takes her away to Petropala, or whatever the planet is called, to, like, save all their problems. So they never actually get back to her.
So-
I think they want to bring her back
Yeah.
later on, but they never did that because Doctor Who gets canceled.
There's a lot of things in these episodes that will end with, like, characters escaping, like the Ronnie,
Davros.
and the Master, and not specifically seeing if they get defeated or not, or die. So I feel like they're really trying to set more stuff up for more seasons to come, but you do know it gets canceled.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So they stop the Ronnie, and then Sylvester gives Icona the antidote to the insects in the globe, and he pours it out, and then they're like, goodbye, and then Sylvester leaves, and that's really about it.
Yeah, I mean, the
music
music's
is good. The music's
Kef.
really good. This is Kef's first serial. We'll talk about the music a bit more later.
The music's good, but, like, we'll get more into the music when we start talking about the bad.
Yeah, when we start talking about the bad music.
I think that's about it, Barry, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So, not the greatest way to start out the Sylvester.
It would have been better if they started off maybe like Paradise Towers or something.
That would have been a better way
And
to
then
start it out.
yeah.
Then we could have had the Tom and the Ronnie, maybe. Or we could have had Tom and the Ronnie as the ending serial.
really-
but then again, we couldn't have an ace
Time of the Ronnie
introduced,
has a
so,
really
yeah.
big like universal threat plot. I feel like they kind of used like the big like ending, like the whole universe is in stake, but yet then where do they get Ace from?
Yeah, so not the greatest, but then again, it's better than Shada or the Daleks. So.
Yeah. Or the Aztecs, or An Earthly Child, or Romans, or you get my point.
What about the Gunfighters?
Oh, the Gunfighters wasn't horrible.
But it wasn't great either.
No.
You know what I mean.
Yeah. So the second serial of the 24th season is Paradise Towers.
Ah.
Now, Paradise Towers is probably
The best serial.
the best serial of the season for many reasons.
Despite popular belief.
Despite popular, people really hate this. However, in that one Doctor Who manual book, it got 9. Remember?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, like people.
Wish I remembered where that was
Yeah,
tied.
intelligent people like these. But,
Whoa. Okay, so Paradise Towers, if you don't know, is based on a book.
called High Rise. Now, the writer of the episode, Stephen Wyatt, had really only read J.G. Ballard as science fiction in the past. Now, I was inspired to read High Rise because of Paradise Towers. Now, it was a book full of nudity, unpleasantries, violence, and other things that if I were to talk about this video would probably be blocked. So, yes. Anywho, the book wasn't horrible, but it was nothing.
Not a great book.
Not.
Nothing compared to the actual Paradise Tower
Yeah.
itself. Now, Paradise Towers, if you didn't know, Dr. and Mel go to Paradise Towers thinking they can just stop by and enjoy the pool.
They try to do a lot of holidays in this episode, in this season. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, it doesn't really go right though. So.
Yeah.
They get separated in Paradise Towers, and I
And-
find that Paradise Towers is not a vacation stay.
It's actually a destroyed, deserted warehouse of destruction and horror.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Good
a big-
description.
A big warehouse of horror, pretty much. It's not actual warehouse. It's a metaphor.
And of course, as is the norm with a lot of classic Doctor Who episodes, Sylvester and Mel get separated.
Yeah, they get separated. The companions and always get separated from the doctors, typically in Doctor Who. But
Especially in classic Doctor Who.
yeah, they get separated a lot. So in Paradise Towers, the society is that
Falling apart.
it's all falling apart. There are these girl gangs called the Kangs. There are the yellow, red, and blue Kangs. Now the episodes begin with the Yash of the yellow Kangs getting wiped out by these things called the cleaners, and these robotic cleaners that go around, and they're supposed to be cleaning the hallways, but they're actually being controlled by the chief caretaker, who's the head of the caretakers, who's telling them to kill people to bring them down to feed his pet, which is this giant creature that looks like K9's ears. We've pointed it out before when we first watched it, or how much of a weird similarity he has to them K9's ears.
Yeah.
But so they're none of the caretakers. They're the people that are supposed to be like keeping law
Now,
and order
in
in
the,
the towers, but they're not.
In the novelization, weren't they described as being fat?
Yes, they were supposed to be fat, obese people, but in the, when they in episodes, they turn out as being these fit men who like scurry around, so they're not actually that obese. And then they're the Kangs, and then the Resis,
Oh,
the
the
residents.
Resis.
They're all just a bunch of
Some of
old
them are
women.
also screwed up and like eating people.
Cannibalistic, yes. Eventually, Mel meets these two Resis named Tabby and Tilda.
Nice
and-
truck.
Yeah, sorry about that. And so they're going to eat her, but Pex comes in.
Now, Pex, he's the hero of Paradise Towers. No, actually, he's not. So, see, all the in-betweens went to go fight this war. What the war was, we never forgot. What happened in the war, we never forgot. But Pex was a coward and stayed behind. And so he is just running around Paradise Towers. And so, naturally, he's a coward. But I suppose
No one really
he
likes
wants to
him.
make up for being a coward. So
Yeah.
he fancies himself as the hero of Paradise Towers. Even though he's never saved anyone. All he goes around doing is just
Yeah.
breaking down doors and annoying old people.
And everyone hates him. So
And he
then-
meets Mel.
Yeah, so he takes Mel, And then, meanwhile, Sylvester gets captured by the caretakers and taken to the chief caretaker, who mistakes him for the great architect.
Who orders his execution.
Yeah, and the great architect is the person who built Paradise Towers.
But
many,
really,
many years
he's
ago.
just the monster trapped in the basement.
Agnon. Now, Caragnon was the universally known as the Great Architect. He built a bunch of stuff about the universe, including Miracle City, in which he didn't want anyone to move into. When people did move in, he killed everyone. So yeah, and that's how Sylvester knows how he is. So he got a bad reputation. So then he went and he built Paradise Towers. And when people tried to move in, he tried to kill them. So they destroyed him, basically, but they put his brain in the basement.
I don't know why they didn't just destroy his brain too, but they, for some reason, spared him, put him down in the basement, and so...
He's been alive, and he's been making the chief caretaker bring him bodies so he can try to live in them.
Or the chief caretaker doesn't know this, and he just thinks he's feeding his little pet.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of stupid.
So, meanwhile, Sylvester uses the caretaker's rulebook to outsmart them. He escapes, meets the Kangs. He gets the fizz drinks for them, which he convinces them that they're on their side. Then the chief goes and visits his pet. Then Mel gets captured by Tilda and Tabby, and they're going to eat her, but Pex comes in and saves her.
Right. Oh yeah, Pex and Mel kind of like a third act breakup in the second episode.
Yeah, third up breakup, but even though it's the second episode, anywho, Pex saves Mel, and then they go down to the basement, and they see Cragnon. Meanwhile, Sylvester gets captured again, but then he escapes again. There's a lot of getting captured and escaping
And Mel
in
and
this
Pex
episode.
make it to the pool in the sky, which is also filled with evil clean air robots, which attempt to kill Mel, but of course, she saved herself using Pex's gun because Pex is too much of a coward to do it himself.
Yeah, and then again, Sylvester and the Kangs go down, and they see the chief caretaker talking to Cragnon. The Cragnon then possesses the chief caretaker and takes over his body, and then they escape.
I don't know why all the other bodies weren't fit, and finally just the chief caretaker was fit, but...
Maybe he was just special. Anyway, then they make it up to the pool in the sky. They, yay, they talk it out, then the Rezzies come up, and then the deputy chief caretaker comes up, and they all team up, and they still bully Pex, though, but they all team up because they need to stop Cragnon, because meanwhile, he is massacring everyone in Paradise Towers.
Every Sylvester serial, there is a massacre.
Like they're like, oh, these aren't violent. Oh, Tom Baker is so fine. The war doctor, shut up. There's a massacre in every serial in this season. The first episode, they kill insects. In the serial, there is
Majority of Paradise Towers?
yeah. The third serial, Notes to the Merriman, the bus blows up and everyone dies in that. And then in the fourth serial, the Nosferatu blows up and everyone dies in that. There's a lot of ships with everyone inside blowing up. But anyway, so what I'm saying is they actually have the guts to kill everyone in these episodes.
Unlike in Matt Smith episodes.
Yeah, and no joke, in Amy's Choice, Matt Smith has a bus, like a van. He just drives up like, everyone get in, I'm saving you. And everyone just like jumps in the van, so Matt Smith can save everyone.
Children in that episode.
Yeah, but off screen.
Stephen Moffat doesn't know what he's thinking.
No, he just throws up, puts that in a refrigerator, freezes it, then gives it to Matt Smith. Matt asks, "What is it?" And then
Let's keep
Moffat
going.
says,
Okay,
"It's a script."
So then
They all team up. They go, and their plan is to set a trap for Cragnon. Max is to go get Cragnon and bring him to Sylvester so he can push him into the Kang's headquarters so he can explode. But Pex is a coward and he brings him too early, so Sylvester's improvise, and then they have a little fight, and then
Pex sacrifices himself and destroys Godarte. Well, he does let Sylvester get the crap beaten out of him.
and then he grabs him and throws him into the wall in order to get him out of the way. But anywho, yay, hooray, they stop Cragnon. The Kangs have a ceremony for Pex. Sylvester gets knighted in honor of Blue and Red Kang. They say goodbye, and then they leave, and there's some graffiti on the wall behind the TARDIS that says Pex lives.
And they never get back to that at all in any Doctor Who, and they never will. Okay, so overall, the best serial, I'd say, of the 24th season. Wouldn't you, Barry?
Yeah,
I'd say so.
that's pretty good. They explain basically everything. It's pretty well
Makes
paced. The
sense.
music's really good.
Nothing's too, confusing. Yeah, the music is really good. Done by
good.
Kev McCallick and the Master. He didn't know originally it
was
had an alternate score.
Made by David Snell, or whatever
which
he is.
the score is
It was
disgusting.
literally horrible. He
It
just
is-
used the same synthesized sound over and over again. It was terrible.
Bass, full bass, no drums, no any different instrument, just that
And-
same bass over and over again.
Your
It's
boy,
disgusting.
for once, John Nathan Turner realized what he was doing was wrong, and he got rid of the score, and he told Kef to make one.
In a week.
In a
Kef
week.
made
So
it in
Kef
1
made
week.
it all in 1 week, which is shows his obvious capabilities, and so you can watch the other version of the soundtrack on the DVD, and we did, and it was horrible.
Yeah, it was really bad, really boring, bland.
Kind of got rid of the intensity.
Yeah, it really brought down the intensity. It shows how much music can affect
A scene. Like, there's this one scene where Pex, he says, like, he talks to him for a second, then they go walking, and then, like, the Kangs fall a second, and there's, like, this nice cut music that's intense, and it's good, and it matches, and it keeps you going. But then, in that version of the scene with, the other score, it's just like...
Whenever anything gets tense, it goes like...
It's like...
We'll play some.
Yeah,
hopefully
watch-
it's playing right now.
Yeah, you can hear it, and then right now, then this is the Kef version. Like, listen, it's so much better. So yeah, I guess it's time to move on to the next cereal.
Yeah, overall, a great cereal. A lot better than a lot of the Tom Bakers I've seen. You know what I mean? Alright.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Doing good. Yeah.
So, the third cereal of the 24th season is Delta and the Bannermen. The cereal where Jeff McCallick had too much control over the music, maybe, if that's what you would call it.
That's not nice and not
That's
true.
what we had planned to joke about originally.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, and it starts with a battle with green army men.
No joke. So the episode opens with this fight, and they're literally I read the book. Now in the book, there's the two races. There are the Bannermen, and then there are the Shimmerin. The Shimmerin live on the planet Shimmeron, and the Bannermen come from I don't remember, but they polluted their planet to a point where it's uninhabitable, and they never mentioned this in the episode, but that's what they say in the book. So they have to come take over Shimmerin. So they kill all the Shimmerins, and no joke, they look like green army men.
They are green army
They are
men.
an army of green army men. It describes them in the book as being green, and that the royals are pink. That's the descriptions that we get. Anywho, so they open to this fighting, which is just a bunch of sparks.
Yeah,
All the gun effects sparks. I mean, the sequence when the Princess Delta and her the last soldier, they start running across this field and there's just a bunch of explosions is pretty impressive. Probably like one wouldn't consider this, but it's kind of one of the more impressivest shots of all of Doctor Who, class Doctor Who, because like it's just them running through this field, but there's like explosions everywhere, and it's like pretty cool. Impressive they did that.
So, once again, it's another holiday. I don't really know what the thing is with holidays.
They do a lot
in
of
this
those.
year. Mel and Sylvester try to go on a holiday at Disney World.
Yeah,
it fails.
They're like they're the 10 millionth customer at this toll booth, and the toll master, played by Ken Dodd, gives them his British celebrity.
Oh, okay.
Gives them a special tour, and they get to go of the Navarinos like nostalgia tour party, and so they get on the bus, they get going. And meanwhile, there are these two Americans named Weissmuller and Hawk.
Two of my all-time favorite
Oh
boys.
yes, and so their job is they need to be looking out for a American satellite which has been sent up, and it smashes into the tour party bus. Okay, so they have a satellite, and the tour bus hits the satellite, causing them to crash. And so Sylvester used the TARDIS to save them, so they gently land next to this Welsh holiday camp called Shangri-La. And so the owner of Shangri-La, named Burton, lets them all stay there. And so they end up staying, and they meet this girl named Ray, and she's a biker girl, and she's in love with this man named Billy, but Billy doesn't like Ray, and he ends up falling in love with Princess Delta. But
It's too bad.
yeah, it's too bad. So she gets
Is
upset.
that the only really romance throughout, like, all the Sylvester era?
Yeah, no.
There's not a lot of romance in class
The
Doctor
one
Who.
guy starts hitting on Ace, like in The Curse of Fenrig.
Yeah,
But
besides
that's there's not a lot of romance. But anywho, so and then they have the big dance. They have the Shangri-La dance, and there's this band playing for them called the L'Oreals, and the L'Oreals, the guitar player is
it's Kath McCallick.
He's on his
his
cameo.
one screen time cameo appearance.
Now, all the music that plays during the episodes, like all like the 60s jams and the rock and roll stuff, all the music, all the 60s rock songs, that's all redone by Kef and his fictional band, the L'Oreals, to avoid, copyright, because BBC can't afford the rights to songs.
Or any real music. in
Or any
general,
music
so-
for that matter. Anywho, so they have this ceremony, they all sing and dance, and then Sylvester chases Ray to this laundry storeroom where they overheard the bounty hunter. His name is actually Keylor. They never say his name once in the episode, but I know because I read the book. Anywho, Keylor contacts Gavrok and tells him that to come to Earth, because that's where we'll find the princess. But meanwhile, Gavrok, he goes and brutally murders everyone at the toll station, and he kills the tollmaster.
And he kills the bounty hunter.
And he kills the bounty hunter. He triggers
Gavrok's
the
a
button.
very dangerous
Yeah,
man.
they actually...
What I like, another thing that's good about this episode is
They do a lot of killing.
Don't think that Doctor Who shouldn't be violent or dark, but I think to keep like the science fiction-y mood,
They have to
it has
kill
to be
people.
violent.
Like-
It should be violent or more or at least not stupid or like just like have like a rend of like there needs to be like it can't be too soft. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it has to be
it
intelligent.
can't be too
in its
soft
killing.
like Matt Smith episodes.
Yeah, there can't be a van where you get in and save people. Anywho, so they do some stuff, then bounty hunter blows up, and so then Billy takes Delta for a ride, and then Sylvester and Ray chase after them and try to find them. Meanwhile, Mel has to get everyone ready to get back on the bus and leave, because the crystal that powers the bus broke, and it...
Sylvester fixes it.
Yeah, Sylvester forms a new one on the TARDIS, but it takes 24 hours to reform, and they have 30 minutes to reform. Meanwhile, Gavrok and the rest of the Barrymen arrive, and
They capture Weissmuller and Hawk.
yeah, the CGI or whatever it is for the ship isn't horrible.
Paintbox, probably.
Paintbox. It's not terrible. It's nothing great, but it's nothing horrible. So then they arrive and they capture them, and then they head off to the camp. Meanwhile, Mel getting everyone on the bus. They get on the bus, and right before the bus leaves, Gavrok comes out and they destroy the bus with everyone inside, which is pretty impressive that they had the guts to kill everyone in the ship. Which is, they would never do that in a match with us. So people think, oh, it's not violent. Well, they just blew everyone up. Everyone died on board. So then Burton comes out and he saves Mel, and then Gavrok uses the two of them as bait to lure Sylvester in. And then Sylvester has a little freak out, and then he gets the two out of there. And then
By the way,
the cliffhanger is really
Yeah, the cliffhanger.
You speak first.
Cliffhanger's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Hey, the guy who plays Gavrok is also an Imperial officer.
Yes, he's the one at the table. We don't know his name, but he's the one at the table in the scene where Vader force chokes the other guy.
Yeah, there are a lot of characters. If you didn't know, a lot of actors from classic Doctor Who are Imperial officers in
Yeah.
the original Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just merely coincidence or not, but like quite a few people. The guy who plays Captain Hopper.
Yes, Bennett.
Yeah, Bennick. The guy who plays Bennick.
Headmaster for the next season.
Yeah, the headmaster from Remembrance of the Daleks. It's kind of strange.
More. Yeah. Okay, so then there's the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger of this for the second and the third part is pretty weird. Sylvester just gets up, they're all walking away, and then the Bannermen just pick up their guns at them. He says, I think I may have gone a bit too far. They look at the camera, and then it just ends. And then the next episode picks up, and they don't
They just
shoot
let him go.
Well, the reason they let them go is because Gavrok wants them to get away, so then they place a tracking device on them so they can lead them to the princess.
Yes. Oh, then there's the beekeeper.
Oh yeah, there's the beekeeper Garanway. He keeps bees and honey.
Yeah.
And they later use that honey. And so then they escape, but the two guys who were guarding Weissmuller and Hawk, like Erex and Calon, I don't really think I'm pronouncing their names right. I know their names because I read the book.
Continue.
They go and they put the tracking dart. Then Sylvester sees the tracking dart and he puts the tracking dart on a goat, which lures Gavrok to the goat, and he gets really mad. And then they go back and they find everyone staying at old Garanway's house. He shows them some honey. Then Erex and Calon come and attack them, but Delta shoots one of them, and the young Shimon princess uses her warning cry to scare the other off. So then they all leave.
Yep.
Gavrok gets here. They use the honey to attack them, and the bees get them. And everyone goes back to Shangri-La. They get ready. They set up a trap where the Bannermen come in, and the Shimon princess screams really loudly over the loudspeaker.
It will hurt them.
It hurts their ears, and then Gavrok falls into the sonic cone around the TARDIS and absorbs all the energy and blows up. And so then it's a happy ending. Princess Delta and Mike.
Oh, wait. Oh, Mike also transforms himself.
Excuse me. Mike's from Remembrance of Billy transforms himself into a Shimmer so he can live with him.
Using the shimmering fluids.
Yeah, so they fly away. And they take the Bannermen to trial. Then actually, the Bannermen later become like a sewing group after this. They all cool. Yeah, who knows?
Well, you learned out 6 right there.
Yeah.
So overall, it's a
good episode.
Yeah, good show.
People hate it for literally no reason.
I
I like how it's humble. There's nothing too special about it.
Yeah.
But then again, there's nothing terrible about it.
Yeah.
Nothing that really, honestly, stood out to me that was bad. It wasn't too long or dragged
It was
out.
just 3 parts. That was
There was
good.
good action, good effects.
Yeah.
Good music.
Really
I
good.
just feel like
Acting was good.
the acting was decent enough characters. There was
Yeah.
the romance. Romance didn't really hit too hard, but it's
Yeah.
classic Doctor Who.
Yeah,
Whenever
what you
there's
gonna do?
ever, honestly, it's
Whenever-
Doctor Who romance. Whenever there's romance, it's honestly, not the greatest,
It was
but
a bit
it's
better.
okay.
It was a bit better in the book because you get to know what the characters were thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but of course I didn't read the book, so I wouldn't
did.
know these.
So that's why it's better than a Tom Baker or an old man because it's not dragged out. It's
Especially
not
the old
lame.
man, and especially like Tom Baker, they're really dragged out. And like this, it's only 3 parts.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I'm really like about the Sylvester episodes, that they're not dragged out.
Yeah.
And there's only like, they never go over 4 parts in a
Yeah.
serial.
Yeah.
So it's a lot better than just sitting down like, let's go watch the Daleks, or let's go watch,
The
I don't know,
Sensorites.
the Sensorites, or Revenge of the Cybermen.
Ice flipping.
Or like the original Suntaran episodes or something.
Mm.
Or, well, the Spirit in Space wasn't that long, but it
wasn't
was
that
kind of
good.
weird.
Wasn't
With,
that
like,
good
a wheelchair
either.
chase and yeah.
So that's why the serial is a pretty good serial. So now we'll move on to the last serial of the season. So the final serial in the first Sylvester season is Dragonfire.
The second worst. I mean, it's not a bad.
It's not bad. It's not bad, and it's not horrible. It's okay. It's better than Time of the Rani. It's not terrible. So there's this planet called Sfortus, and I don't know why it's called Sfortus, because they call it Ice World half the time too. So there's this big shopping complex on Ice World owned by this really evil man named Mr. Kane. And so Sylvester and Mel come to visit Ice World.
This is also the serial Ace is introduced, and
Yeah.
henceforth replaces Mel.
Yes. Well, funny thing is, originally they wanted Ray to be the new assistant, but they cut that and they decided to make Ace the new assistant instead.
Okay. So, yeah, so they meet up with, Glitz, and he shows up in some Colin Becker episodes, and so he's here, and he's got the Nosferatu, which does later explode in the final episode.
Yes, and he has this
all the
map
inhabitants inside.
to find the treasure and the dragon and the dragonfire, which is the secret mythical dragon and the treasure that is in Ice World that Mr. Kane is after. So he puts a tracking beacon inside of the map, and so off they go to try to find the map. And
Some of the
try to find the treasure. Excuse me.
Some of the studios look okay. I'd say they look alright. Sometimes,
the ice is kind of obviously just plastic sometimes.
yeah.
I swear, if you look closely at the ice, you can see little smiley faces on them, like the logo, whatever the brand was, the plastic wrap.
Wow. And so, yeah. The music, unfortunately, in this episode is
the greatest.
first serial of the Sylvester era where the music starts to go down in quality.
It's not Kef this time, it's Dominic Glynn. Now, Dominic Glynn's music is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it's absolutely abysmal.
You know, it's
Hopefully you're hearing
upsetting.
some of it right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when an episode like this, which is a good episode, has bad music, kind of brings the episode quality down.
Yeah,
a
it
bit.
really does bring the episode quality down a lot.
Yeah.
Because the music quality is
Very
abysmal.
influential.
It's just like, this music in the episode is just like this like weird
Wow.
backdrop music and like a little bit of cues, like when action ever happens, something here and there, like
it's so
that's it.
repetitive. So
But
then,
some of the like ice, like shingly sounds
yeah.
here and there.
So Sylvester and Glitz, they go looking. Eventually, Sylvester comes to this ledge where he hangs himself over with a cliffhanger for literally absolutely no reason. Now, people really judge this moment. I mean, I'm pretty sure the reason he hangs himself over is because he's looking for another way around, or he's looking for something. There's a reason why he does it. It's just featured in the script. And, you know,
not in the episode.
they never actually say.
This is one of the Sylvester era's lower points.
So he hangs himself over, but Glitz gets him
episode
down.
ends,
The episode
yeah.
ends, and Mr. Kane captures Mel and Ace. He offers Ace a chance to join him. Ace is not, showing character development.
Yeah.
It's more than Tom Baker ever had. More reasons why it's better than Tom
a lot
Baker.
more than the old man ever had.
Yeah. So eventually they end up finding this creature, and this creature houses that dragonfire, which is this crystal inside of it. So
they get to the crystal, they get that. Mr. Kane, he also has to stay frozen. He needs the temperature to be certain degrees because the planet he comes from, Paramon, was surrounded by a red star, and red stars are dying stars, meaning they're really cold, so Mr. Kane comes from a cold atmosphere, so naturally he needs to be cold. Some of his crew try to betray him and make him hot.
That doesn't really work.
No, he just kills them.
Yeah, he has
I don't
ice
know why
powers too.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't just shoot him, but they're like, he's like, just shoot him, but he kills him. Anywho.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, the creature shows Sylvester some charts of the stars, and
some recordings.
Some recordings.
Learn the backstory of Kane. He's a criminal. He was sent here. He was sent here with his best, criminal buddy, right?
Oksana, his criminal girlfriend killed herself when they sieged their big criminal headquarters, and he escaped, and he's really sad, and he wants to take revenge on his home because they killed her and they imprisoned him here for 3,000 years in the cold side of Ice World.
Well, apparently Piglet doesn't remember as much as he thinks he does from these episodes.
Poor Piglet.
Oh, okay.
So eventually they get the dragon fire.
There's just this little girl who just
appears.
appears.
Brat.
That doesn't really don't really know why she's even here.
She's scurrying around. Oh, and when Kane orders his men to start massacring everyone, she just hides under the table. And it's so cute. There's a little brat hiding under the table. Oh.
It's also one of the Sylvester low points.
Yeah, they kill everyone, and then everyone's dead. And she's just sitting around drinking her milkshake where all the dead bodies of all the people are all lying around, and she's just having a good time. It's really stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, look past that. Try to look past that.
Yeah, Nosferatu blows up.
With, again, another episode where it blows up and everyone on board dies.
Yeah, another Sylvester massacre. Kane looks out the window, sees the sun, right?
Yeah, he puts the dragon fire into the control circuit of Ice World.
Ice World is also a ship.
It's a big spaceship. Anyway, so, yeah, Ice World is one big ship. The ship disconnects. But then Kane realizes he's lost, so he looks in the mirror, and he literally melts. And
yeah, it's probably the most violent moment of all.
Yeah,
classic Doctor Who I've seen.
Yeah, it's pretty violent.
There's a lot of the classic Who is a generally violent show, but I've never seen all the other classic episodes I've seen. They've seen melting someone's face off, so I'll give them that.
Yeah. So they kill Kane, and
Ace decides to go with Sylvester.
And Mel leaves.
Mel leaves with Glitz. I don't really know where they go, but they look like a weird village with this blacksmith they just described.
Yes, they do describe that. Perryville.
Oh.
I don't understand why they're going to Perryville if that's where Ace comes from and she's not coming with them. So they're just going to stop there for no reason.
Well,
anyway, so Sylvester goes with Ace, and then they leave, and that's the end of the season. So there are many reasons why this serial is better than Tom Baker, Old Man. It's much more violent.
Well, it makes it better. Kind of depends.
It depends. The violence.
Once again, the action is a lot of sparks flying off guns.
Yeah.
Some of the gun props aren't the greatest,
They
but
kind of look like blow dryers. They're trying though. They're trying. I'll give them that.
Honestly, guns on classic Doctor Who never really looked the greatest,
No.
but
yeah, that's pretty good. So now we'll come back. We can regroup and we'll talk about why season 24 is one of the best seasons of classic Doctor Who. And then we'll say goodbye. So that was part 1 of 3 of why the Sylvester McCoy era of Doctor Who is the best era of classic Doctor Who.
yeah, I feel like we talk just more about the episodes and less about why it's the best.
But we're trying, when we describe the episode's plots, hopefully you can see that they're better than the plot of say Shada or
Shada. Honestly, anything's better than Shada. I really hope people don't like Shada because Shada is so long and so
tedious, bland, dread out, and don't explain things. So main points, well, Sylvester is better than any other class Doctor Who because
it's not too dragged out. That's one of my main reasons.
It's not too dragged out. They try to explain everything.
Try most of the time.
Yeah, the effects are a bit better.
The music's pretty good.
The music's good.
Besides Dragonfire, and you'll see in the next few videos that the music's kind of good.
Yeah.
Because Kev does less and less as the series progresses.
Yeah, so the action's alright when they have it, and acting's good, the stories are better, and just in general, If you looking at it from a critical point of view, the Sylvester McCoy or class doctor is the best there. Class doctor.
I guess we're done here then.
Yes. So don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe back to you. We're not always notified when people subscribe to us, so you need to comment on the comment section most so we can know to subscribe back to you.
Goodbye.
Watch part 2.